getting paid 4 times the money from managed accounts than they do retail.
Right.
You'd think we'd get 4 times the customer service. We're getting half the customer service. That's $170,000. Everybody can calculate out. What's the sales charge in Invesco at $170,000? 3.5%? 3%? Okay, so 3%. 3% of that, that's $5,100. 35% of that.
$1,785.
It's roughly 1%. And that's just one. And it'll take you 2 hours to do.
Executive get then 8% more than the first class ticket or something.
Whatever it is. That's
SB 50 is a standard.
Yeah, okay.
It's SBBUS. This money is sitting there making 5% of tax-free interest for the government.
versus a savings account, which is now paying about 5%.
Yeah, but
That's
taxed.
taxed.
Yeah. Municipal bond funds, then the interest is tax-free.
Tax-free bond fund, okay, got it.
How do you? Yeah, you can use ORNX or ACTHX.
When it's open. It's tax exempt.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. So that's the only reason.
So you have to see the word municipal in the name of the fund, then it's tax-free, federally tax-free. It's called the business account application.
SB 50 BUS.
It has to be money that's the company is declined is keeping the account owner, the business owner is keeping in the business account that he does not touch very often. Here's what I don't want. My objective is for him to have the money in here, earning good interest, and really not need it, and use it as kind of a retirement plan when they go to sell the business. This is money they'll have that they can use, they can retire off, you can help retire off. Okay, PFS, investment account. So this is where you get the driver's license information. But there's another page.
Except that, what you're looking for here is verify the existence of the entity.
Oh, yeah, that's right. So, yeah, that's right. So there, you're going to name of the legal entity. So you need to have them, they have an article of incorporation.
Mm-hmm.
I get them to give me two things. The articles of incorporation and the IRS or the state form that assigns them their tax ID number. I get a copy of both. Okay, so then section 2 of that part, verify the identity of one control person. So an executive officer or senior manager, any other individual who regularly performs similar functions. Okay, so you put their name and address, what is it? Birthday, social security number. Okay, go to the next one. These are all the partial owners. I did one of these with a company up in South Carolina, and one of the things that company had done to attract some pretty good quality employees is give them partial ownership of the company. Yeah, well, the problem with that is when we did this, there were people who had that 3% ownership, 5% ownership. So you got to list every, it's got you out of 100%. Yeah. So at first, I thought it was just 2 guys. It turned out it was 5 guys. Verify the identity of beneficial owners. If no individual meets the definition, please check this box. Then authorize individual acknowledged. So you write the main guy,
Personal previous page.
on the very first page. I, so-and-so, hereby, whatever, sign and date. Okay. See those little 3 boxes on the side? Yeah, that's important. So it says authorized individual, control person, or beneficial owner. One person could be all 3. Okay? Or one person could be only one of the 3. You got to check the correct number of boxes per person on that page. Authorized individuals again. So the name of the business. If you notice, you're writing the same stuff over and over again. So you write down all their information. Owner, authorized individual, title. Okay. Owner, VP, president, CEO, whatever. Okay, now on section 2 right there. This is important. Any one acts alone or all must act unanimously. Okay, most I encourage act alone. Because if you have an owner and he's got a bunch of smaller owners and he can't do anything unless all of them business. That could be a problem. So then they sign it. All the authorized owners and officers sign. The owner signs it. Now is where you start putting the information about the company. So you go put the name of the company again. I always pick, even though I put a client in a high yield municipal bond fund, I pick growth. Is I ask them what the annual gross income of the business is, not of the individual client. What's the value of the portfolio to the business owner? And what's the net worth? How much for the trucks, their buildings, all the stuff involved in the value of that business, what it's worth. Consider your time horizons. I always do over 10, whichever one is the longest period of time I check that one. And then go to the next one, a business federal tax bracket. So I'll ask them, what tax bracket are you in? They don't know. I tell them, who pays your taxes? Business investment source. The reason I'm incorporated is I don't pay self-employment tax. So business investment source. And generally it's going to come from income from operations. It's easy to miss a box. Number of years investment experience. These you got to fill that in. Make sure whatever the name is on the corporate resolution is exactly the name of the business. Okay, so now, how is your business organized? Is it a C Corp, S Corp, partnership, LLC, sole proprietor? So if it is a food truck, it can be a sole proprietor, right? What is your business engaged in? Are you selling gems and jewelry, precious stones? It's pretty interesting, the ones they're asking you about, import-export businesses, pawn brokers, even check cashing businesses. They're probably suspicious about all five of them. But so you want to check other, and then what types of financial products or investments do you currently own? Okay, solution number at the top.
On every page.
On every page. You're going to put the name, fund number, ACTHX, A share, put the name of the fund, 150,000. Go down further. Send this distribution. Sometimes the client will want the distribution. You can send it to them. Most of the time, I'm not going to get a check at all. I'm going to give them to give me a voided check for the business. Attach a voided check from the business bank account for this option. Provide account type, name, account, ABA number, all that. So you're going to get the voided check and put all that information on there and check what kind of account that is. And then you need a signature on that from either one or whichever. If there's only one authorized individual, then you just need one. Especially if a person can act alone, you just need one authorization. Electronic delivery, company email address, solution number. Let's say this client has a Roth, has a rollover IRA, an individual account, all this other stuff, right? They have this. They do not count towards each other. They put only $25,000 on it, they're going to get charged 5.5%.
Right.
This same company, one of the same organization, they have a simple with me.
Yeah.
They have a corporate account,
Yeah.
and then the owners have individual accounts.
Right.
Okay. They pay a higher sales charge on their retirement account and a higher sales charge on the business account because it doesn't equal $1 million. Even though they have $1 million in individual accounts.
Right. Okay. So it's all because of tax ID versus using your social security as a tax ID.
Okay, then you need signatures right here. So that's it. What I would encourage you to do, though, also, is if you do get one of these, let me look it over before we submit it. We'll use Mike to figure out how much money he paid into the Social Security Administration.
This is my taxable, taxed Social Security earnings block.
Right.
Okay? And what I'm taxed on. And that was $2,504,783.
Okay, so let me get
From 1980 to 2020, it's 42 years.
Okay, so if we take that number and you multiply it times 7.65%, so 0.765 times.
What?
Because your employer takes 7.65% of the income you make, and that's what you pay into Social Security. So in your lifetime, you've paid in $191,615.89.95 90 cents.
So you need to change your calculations, because I've paid in, okay?
Uh-huh.
I've paid in $151,515.
It should be $190. That's weird.
It says it on my statement. Currently, you and your employer each pay 6.2% Social Security tax up to $137,700 of your earnings, and a 1.45% Medicare tax on all your earnings.
That's what makes it 7.65. Okay, that's why I messed up. So it's 8.2%.
So if you are self-employed, you pay the combined employee and employer amount, which is 12.4% Social Security tax up to $137,700 of your net earnings, and a 2.9% Medicare tax on your entire net earnings. If you have earned income of more than $200,250 for married couples filing jointly, you must pay 0.9% more in Medicare tax.
I don't know. How much money did you and your employer pay into Social Security?
$306,385.
$306,385. Okay. So we're gonna take that number. Let's do 0.05 times enter 125. So if you made zero return on money, which is what you made, you can take out $1,276, which you said you could. But if you would have earned interest on that money for all those years, but the hard time would be they don't spell out how much money you made at Delta every year. What year did you start working at Delta?
Okay. The Delta was 91.
Okay. So 1991. What did you make that year?
$26,556.
$26,556.
Mm-hmm.
And then you take 12 point.
They took out $1,593.36.
Well, the employer paid in half the same amount you did.
Well, I'm just saying they took that out of me.
Right.
And then my employer did about the same.
Which is how much?
$1,593.36.
So about $3,000.
So, yeah, well, probably $3,500 because
Okay.
the employer pays a little bit more.
Okay, $3,500, and that was 33 years ago.
That was 31 years ago. So what I did each year, like in 1980, when I first started working, I made $1,814. Okay, I paid $108.84 in Social Security. Okay, that's 6%. Okay, if I invested that $108 back in 1980,
Which is 42
years,
Yeah.
okay, at 3%.
Wow.
Okay, I made it would be worth $376.66 now.
Right.
So I did that for each year
Okay.
on what it did. Okay, and it came out that had I taken the Social Security money that I paid in each year and invested it
In the same account.
at 3%.
Yeah.
Okay, I'd have $240,000, $213.57.
And that's just what you paid.
That's just what I paid.
Not counting the employer.
Right. So that means I divided that by what my Social Security was,
But you need to multiply times 2. Because the employer paid, here's what you gotta remember. Your employer is paying the same amount of money you are, so that's money the employer didn't pay you, they paid it to Social
correct.
Security.
But I looked at this calculate just to get my numbers straight is like Will and Winnie, that if you're a priest, you're not paying into Social Security, you're not getting the other employer pay. You're only getting your.
Right.
But
even me, I'm self-employed, I actually vote. And so do they. The priests pay vote too.
do they?
Yeah.
12%?
Yeah. I'm trying to get that.
Okay. So then that's 240, 213, 57.
So take that 300 whatever pound when you said that was bottom. That 3%.
300. So what me and the employer paid
No, the one where
$345.
you making when you added, you made 3%.
240,000.
240,000.
213 and 57 cents.
213 and 57.
Yeah. So times that by 2.
2 times.
180 to 427.
Yeah, so that's even, okay, so if you take that number times 0.05 times, that's $2,000 a month. So what if you made 6% on that money instead?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, then you'd have even more money.
And then I have to calculate each one of those bonds over.
Right, so you would have had usually more money, and even double the interest, usually more money.
Yeah.
Okay, so we could say easily that you'd have twice as much.
Easily.
So close to $1 million.
Yeah.
Which means you could pull $5,000 a month off, $4,000 a month off of it right now. So the point is,
We're more efficient than the government.
that if you took the money that both your employer and you were paying in Social Security,
Yeah.
and you were able to invest it,
Yeah.
even at a 6% interest rate.
And then, so yes, all things being equal, but then I look back when I was in 1980, 81, 82, working in 90, I was 84, I made $9,932 in the Air Force.
Yeah.
In 1986. I didn't have a pot to piss in.
Right.
I lived paycheck to paycheck.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have invested any money.
What if,
They made me.
yeah, they automatically took it out of you
They put it in.
and put it in a program that paid you 6%?
Now,
Bush Junior.
Junior
Bush
wanted to,
Yes, he did.
yeah, so we were
That was
gonna
one thing I
transfer.
voted for.
Well, and see, that's what I was looking at, because when I heard that, I'm like, hell, I mean, I wasn't in this business yet, but I knew that if I could find a mutual fund that paid, basically between 8 and 10%,
They
leave
make
it alone.
6.
Well, even if you make 6, yeah,
You would be-
exactly. Even if you make 6%, it's still my money. And I'm doing better than the government ever has.
Right.
And I think that was the original argument.
Here's the rest of the story.
Yeah.
Here's the rest of the story. If they had done that,
Yeah.
let's say they put all this money in an account and they separated, like Bush
Right,
Jr. said,
yeah,
in an account, and you die,
Yeah.
that $1 million would then go to your spouse,
spouse, yeah,
right?
Yeah.
But if you're Social Security and you die, that's it. Or your wife will get a reduced amount,
Yeah.
slightly reduced amount.
Yeah.
But if you both kill, that's it.
yeah,
Right? This way, if the amount of money was your name, you'd have all this money, it'd keep growing,
mm-hmm.
you get raises every couple of years
Yeah,
for the rest of your life,
yeah.
and then when you died, you'd leave $4 million to your kids.
Mhm.
In a perfect world.
Well, yeah, and
Even if we did what we do with our clients with their
Yeah.
401ks.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, again, going back in time, how many people and how many clients I have, I've never done it,
Mhm.
but when you have, all of a sudden you look at your retirement plan and there's $480,000 in there, and you're ready to buy a house, how many people actually go and take money out of their 401k plan to buy that house?
A lot of
A
people.
lot of people do.
Yeah.
Or you would have to lay stipulations that money can't be touched until you retire at
Yeah.
62 or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Well, you're right. And even if you said, let's play devil's advocate. Let's say the government gave you 6%. You could invest the money, and the government lets you invest it. But the highest return they'll give you is 6, even if it makes 8 or 10 or 12. They keep the difference. They'd come out way too good. If you put the money in the equity and income fund, that's average 10% since 1960. And they say, okay, here's the deal. We're going to take all this money out of your paycheck. Your employer's going to put all this money in this account. And it's going to be invested in a portfolio that's average 10%. But you can only make 6. And we, the government's going to take the other 4. The government would have made hugely more money than they ever got. And you would have usually more money than you would ever have. So, yeah, Bush Jr. was had mentioned he wanted to privatize Social Security.
Correct.
But it made that lasted about a week and a half. Because the fact is, Social Security is a Ponzi scheme.
Yeah.
And so for you to get your money isn't just your money.
Yeah.
It's her money.
Mhm.
Okay?
Yeah.
It's all people younger than us
Yeah.
that are paying into it. They're going to get a reduced amount. We're taking their money.
If the government came out today, we can end your Social Security, we'll give you the $306,000, will give you $306,000 today
I think.
for you not to take Social Security at 62.
Not yet.
So Patrick, so Patrick Head would spend.
Which would be kind of cool.
If they invested the money and you got up to a certain percentage and they kept the rest, and then you had the stipulation to where you could draw 5% a year of whatever you had in that account, and you could leave that money to your family, and that would be a better choice.
Yeah.
Well, okay, I'm gonna play devil's advocate even better. What if we took this common sense and put it back in the school system? And show our young people that it's better to be a producer than an employee?
They don't want everybody to be productive.
I know they don't.
Even an educated person, if they see that big screen TV, they're buying the big screen TV. They're not putting their money into an investment. So teaching them in school,
But
we'll
see,
work on half the people, but the other half ain't gonna work.
but when I was in school, more people, I'm sorry, in my generation of people that I graduated with, more people that I graduated with were financially more responsible than the same group of people coming out of school today.
What I used to do when my kids would go want to bring home a boy or start dating a boy, and this is no joke, is I would tell my daughters, I said, if you're going to bring this kid, start dating him. I said, I didn't want him to write me a paragraph on what the rule of 72 is.
You know, I offer a scholarship program for my black belts, and I have them read 3 books, and they have to give me a book report on it. I just had my first one when Who Moved My Cheese,
So,
Dream Giver, and another book by John Maxwell.